Hi, yeah, it is the first weekend in December, and of course we all know what that means. Happy Christmas! I literally just finished working on my character design art project last night, and I am ready to jump back into writing, sort of. But I thought in between we could do like a bit of a cozy weekend vlog as a transition, where I just sort of take it easy a little bit, but also do writing adjacent things to get myself back into that writing headspace, if that makes sense. I've been a little bit intimidated about getting back into writing because I've taken so much time off from it, so we're just gonna do little baby steps and get back into it slowly. But of course it is the first weekend of December, and I wouldn't be me if I wasn't also doing a Christmas vlog at the same time. I have a couple of things that I want to do this weekend, including doing some planning for next year as well as my next book. I also want to do some crochet, and we will see why that's writing related when we get into that. I also want to be doing some baking this weekend, which is not related to writing in any way whatsoever, but we're doing it anyway. But before we do either of those things, there's actually a Christmas market going on today, and I want to go to it, so we're gonna do that first. Hello, I am back home, and you may or may not have noticed a severe lack of Christmas market footage in the B-roll just now, and there's a reason for that. The Christmas market was being held inside a cathedral, which is at the very top of this very tall hill, and it's very cold and windy up there, like properly cold and windy. And when we got there, we realized that there was over an hour queue, which I would have been fine with under normal conditions, but I was feeling a bit under the weather this morning, and standing in this really cold, windy place for over an hour did not sound like the smartest decision, so we decided not to do that. So instead we just went down to the lake and just had a little walk around there and just got back home early, and now I get to work on the other things that I wanted to do this weekend. And the main thing I want to be doing today is actually planning ahead for next year. This will be both writing related, but also just general planning. And this year is actually the first year that I've decided that I'm not going to be using a bullet journal. I've been bullet journaling for, I think, 7 years. And the last 2 years I've been progressively doing like a hybrid bullet journal and Notion method that's been progressively getting more Notion and less bullet journal. And this time I've decided that I literally have not used my bullet journal in 6 months, so there's no point setting up a new year in it. But yeah, I want to A, do some actual planning, but B, actually revise some of my spreads and make them work better for me, because especially the yearly and monthly spreads that I have, because I have them in my bullet journal as well, I haven't put a lot of effort into them. They were just sort of a digital copy with reminders, but now I use them as my main place, so I want to make them a little bit better. I kind of want to update some of my writing pages in Notion as well, but I'm not sure I'm going to be doing that today. I want to prioritize the 2023 planning today, and then if I have time I might also do the writing project pages. Most of those are okay, but because I am not only starting a new year, but I'm also starting a new book, I'm thinking making some new templates and updating some things. So I'm gonna go and make some tea, and this feels very much like a cozy task, so I'm gonna go sit over there on the sofa and just like have a blanket, have my tea, and look into my Notion spreads and do my organizing. I'm so looking forward to this. Hello again. I have spent some time going through my Notion and making things nicer, and I also went through my bullet journal to move everything that I still wanted to keep into my Notion, and I just wanted to show you part of the reason that I'm not going to be using this anymore, and that is this spread. If you've been here for a while, you might remember this spread from the video that I did last year, where I went through and decorated my bullet journal for the year. This took about 10 hours to do. Not just the spread, the entire yearly setup, which is a couple of extra pages. If you look at the tick boxes, I have done these things, like Project Side Draft 3, I've done that. Draft 4, done that as well. Sent to Critique Partners, also done. I haven't ticked any of them. Not a single one of these boxes is ticked, because I haven't looked at this thing all year. And this is why we're no longer spending 10 hours a year making spreads like that, because what's the point? I mean, they're really fun to make, but if I'm not gonna use them. Anyway, let me get my laptop on my lap, and I'm just gonna show you what I've been doing for the last couple of hours. So first of all, I want to show you what I had before, so this is for 2022, and what I basically had is the months on one side, and then like my yearly goals on the other side, and then the months I just sort of put into this archive when I stopped using them. So there are a couple of things that I don't like about this. The first one being I don't like putting months into the archive because I can't go back and check things, and sometimes when I'm editing a video and I want to know exactly what day something happened, or just in general, I need to go back into the archive and look for it, and it's a bit of a mess. So I would prefer a setup that lets me just keep things where they are and just hide them away, which is what I'm doing for my new setup. And then I also don't like that I don't really have the space to do any long-term planning outside of just this like once a year goal setting, which I also don't want to do anymore. I've decided that yearly goals don't work for me, so I'm not setting any this year, so that needs to change as well. But yeah, this is gonna stay here until the end of the year, and then I'll move it somewhere like to the bottom of this list. And in the meantime, I have made this spread for 2023. And this is my new setup, so I have some goals for each of the quarters at the top. And then further down, I have my months, which I've got quarter one already sort of expanded out here. But if I decrease them down, I've got the quarters in the same colors that I have them at the top, sort of in 3 columns next to each other, so I can plan ahead a little bit easier without having to scroll so far down. And when I'm done using them, I can just mark them and unmark them, so then I can just go to the next month. And that way they're not taking up as much space, but I don't have to delete them all together, I can just keep it there. And yeah, it's basically the same sort of thing I had for last year, but it looks better, and I think it's gonna be a little bit easier for me to use. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is how, first of all, I'm not setting yearly goals because I'm finding it difficult to predict what I'm gonna be doing next year. Like, first of all, I have no idea. I struggled filling anything in for quarter one. As you can see here, I only really have one goal set in stone and a couple of ideas for what I might want to be doing. But yeah, I'm just at a point right now where I don't really know where life is taking me, and even though I would like to set goals and intentions, it's difficult to do that when I haven't decided what direction to take and what I would like to be doing with myself. And I just thought that setting yearly goals isn't the right thing to do this year, so we're not gonna do it. I was kinda hoping to fill in the quarter one goals thing today. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Like, I have been thinking about what I want to do in terms of my book, because the first book in Project Sci is currently with beta readers, and even though the original deadline was the end of December, I don't think anyone is gonna finish other than Danny, who finished like 2 months ago, 3 months ago even. And I don't want to make changes based on just one person's feedback, but I also don't want to be waiting around doing nothing. And I wasn't doing nothing because I was working on my character design series. But now that I've finished working on that project, I'm thinking it might be a good idea to get back into writing, and I don't necessarily know what that entails. I think working on the sequel will be the smartest thing to do right now, but writing the sequel terrifies me, and I don't really know what happens in it yet, which is the problem. But we'll get there. I don't even know, because I wrote down as my idea for quarter one, like fast drafting book 2, but I don't know if I want to fast draft book 2 or if I want to do a full-on outline and try and do a neat draft from the start. Because I'm kinda hopeful that I can go into book 2 and have it be not quite at the same level, but like getting close to the level that draft 3 for book 1 was. And that sounds very realistic, but bear in mind that draft 1 and 2 of book 1 was so dreadful. Like, they were basically like draft -1 and draft 0. They don't really count. And I'm a much better writer than I was when I wrote the first book, at least the first times round. So I think I should be able to get book 2 done with many less drafts than I needed for book 1. But I say that and I still don't actually know how book 2 ends. So maybe I'm just kidding myself. Maybe I'm just gonna need 3 drafts to figure out the ending again. I don't know. Maybe I should just fast draft it. But This is why I have no idea what I'm doing, because I don't have an outline, and really I should be working on an outline at the minute. But that's everything I wanted to show you on there. The other thing that I want to be doing today is baking. I've quickly changed into a shirt that I'm less worried about getting chocolate on, and we are going to be making a Yule log. I make this recipe every Christmas, starting about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm obviously going to be making it again this year because I can't resist. It's chocolate Yule log. It's amazing. I'll link the recipe in the description as well in case you want to make this too, and let's just do some baking. Cakes out of the oven. There seem to be a bunch of little bursts of flour on it, which I swear were not there when I put it into the oven. They seem to have this bubble to the surface. I did stir this, but clearly I didn't stir this well enough. So now I'm gonna put everything in this area of the corner, like over there, so I can lay out some baking paper, and I'm gonna flip the cake around, roll it up, and then leave it overnight. And then I also need to make the icing, which I also need to leave overnight.
I don't think that I'm being that selfish right now. You said yourself you'd be breaking me down. I can understand you're tired of this town, and I'm not saying that we have to settle down now. Just remember this. We could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there. Made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you. Stardust, stardust. I'm the lazy one, so I guess I should have known. You said yourself you wanna do this alone. What if your dreams are making it hard to think straight? If you still love me, I can wait, I can wait. And remember this.
So the cake was absolutely delicious. I mean, I'm sure you can tell that it looks delicious. It tastes just as good as it looks. And for the rest of the day, I want to do a bit of crochet. This is part of the project that I'm currently working on. The plan is that I want to make a pillow with like alternating colored tiles. So this would be one option, and then the other option, the flower, would be white, and this would be orange. And then have like a grid of this and make a little pillowcase for my grandma for Christmas, which I think she would like this. And this is just the first sort of tile that I did to test the pattern out. I will leave the pattern in the description, by the way, for these flower tiles. That is not my own pattern. But to make things easier for myself, I've just sort of been making the flowers to begin with. I've got quite a lot of these. And it's just easier because I've basically memorized the flower pattern now, so I can make them all in one go. And then when I've finished, I can memorize the outside of the pattern and then do that all in one go. And the reason I said this is writing related is because I've made so many of these now that it takes no effort on my brain side to make these, so I can be watching stuff at the same time. And I thought it would be a cool idea if I watched the Brandon Sanderson lectures, or rather rewatch the Brandon Sanderson lectures while I make a bunch more of these, and that way I can sort of like start turning the gears in my head on what I want the second book to be, and I can also just think about it a bit and take notes while I watch the lectures. And yeah, that's what I want to do for the rest of the day. I haven't been very good at keeping count of these, so I kind of know more or less how many I have, but I want to go through and count them all because I think I'm getting quite close to the number I need, and then I'll see how many I have left, and I'm gonna try and finish all the flowers I need by the end of the day. again, that took a very long time, a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but I've got 3 of these and 4 of these, so we did it. I only managed to go through one of Brandon Sanderson's lectures, so that means this took a little over an hour. However, I kept pausing the lectures in order to take notes and brainstorm and just think about the next book. So overall, it probably took closer to 3 hours to actually get to that lecture because of the fact that I kept stopping it. But I'm very happy with the results of that. I've been able to rethink some of my existing plot lines as well as come up with a couple of new ideas, and I think I'm making a little bit of progress into the puzzle that is the sequel that I still need to figure out. And these are done, so that's good as well. I'm at the point now where if I want to finish The Pillow Before Christmas, I need to do about an hour a day on it, which I think is gonna work pretty well because those lectures are about an hour, so I get to watch 1 lecture a day from now until Christmas, and hopefully I can finish this in time. Of course, for the next bit when I do the outside of these, I'm gonna need to do it without listening to anything a couple of times first, so I get used to the pattern, but after that I'll get back into the lectures, and hopefully I'll be able to do a bit more brainstorming and come up with some more ideas in preparation for drafting. But that's gonna be it for this video. I hope that you're feeling a little bit Christmassy from watching this. I just noticed I forgot to put on my hat, but it's late and I'm tired. So have a wonderful day, a wonderful Christmas, and a very happy new year. And I will see you with a new video next year. Bye bye.